Hey Lunatics, it's Lady Luna, and today this is a video I've been waiting to do for the longest time. I think I cracked the secret code to tarot, and this is by far the easiest way and fastest way that I've learned to use tarot, so stay tuned. So, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lady Luna, also known as Luna Knight, and I make a ton of different videos about metaphysics and mystical things and manifestation, so be sure and subscribe to this channel if you like videos like that and push the bell so you don't miss a single video when it comes out. So tarot, yes, I made a video about the reasons why people get into tarot the other day, and it made me want to talk a little more about it because I have really been studying the symbolism of it, the history of it, and it is so much more than just divination or finding out your future or anything like that. I don't use it for that stuff. You can watch that video to find out what I actually do with tarot. But as far as the symbolism goes, I actually had the hardest time at first learning the symbolism behind tarot, but there is a system that I've discovered within tarot cards and the art on them and the symbolism of them where you can actually really easily tell a card when you draw it. So I worked this out into a series of charts, and I'm going to put those on the screen. So yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so you'll notice that there are the major arcana, and those cards tend to be more symbols and people types of cards. And then the minor arcana, which always has some kind of suit, which is the wands, swords, cups, and pentacles in it, as well as a number. And then there are the court cards, which are the king, queen, knight, and page. So all of these have specific symbolism that you can mix and match. And so that's why I'm going to go over the minor arcana first and then the major arcana, because the minor arcana is more about mixing and matching and understanding the symbols that way, which makes it so much easier. So let's go over the numbers first. Each card in the minor arcana has a number. And so with that, you can find out the numerology of the card and the symbolism behind the number. So with numerology, if you've studied it before, you know that every number is highly significant when it comes to mystical things. So in the tarot deck, every card has a number. Even in the major arcana, the Fool card is actually a 0 because it's kind of the card before you start your journey, so to speak. So I'm going to go over the numbers 0 through 10 and talk about each of the symbolisms of those numbers to watch out for. So 0, the first one, would be just an infinite cycle, so one eternal round. As you know, eternity never ends, kind of like the symbol of the wedding ring. That's why we have a circle wedding ring for our symbol of love for eternity, because it never ends. It's a circle. Then we have the number 1, which is also a lot like the ace in a regular deck of cards. And the 1 represents creation and beginnings. It's the first of everything, and that makes sense. That's easy to remember. Number 2 is duality and choices. So kind of like a crossroads, you can go to the left or to the right. You can go one way or the other. Number 3 is self-expression. So think of number 3 as you have 2 friends that you're talking to. You can express yourself freely with them. You can talk about your feelings. You can share new ideas and things like that. Number 4 means a stable foundation. So the way that you can remember number 4 is thinking of a chair or a table that has 4 legs on it. Typically we see furniture with 4 supporting legs because 4 is a number of support and stability. Number 5 is a meaning of change and also challenges. So 5 is kind of an uneven number. It's kind of like a wild card type of number. Think of the stability you had from number 4, now adding 1 more. That's a change, that's new, that's different. And sometimes that can be challenging for people to deal with change. Number 6 is harmony and love. So 6 actually is considered, how do we say this? A reproductive number. It's a number that has a lot to do with creating life, so to speak. So that's something interesting to note. This comes from, actually, there's a symbol that many refer to as the as above, so below symbol. It looks a lot like the David star, but it has kind of a different meaning to it. It's one triangle pointing up and another pointing down, and both of them intersecting. So together that makes 6 points on the star, and that is a combination of the above and the below, so to speak. So that is one way of looking at harmony, and it can also be a representation of love. So interesting stuff for sure. Then there is the number 7, which is contemplation. This is a number where you're kind of growing and thinking about new things, introspective, looking within yourself, knowing yourself and knowing truth better, things like that. This is a very mystical number, has a lot to do with the learning the truths of the universe and things like that. The number 8 is about prosperity and manifestation. So if you take the stability from number 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So it's kind of like the number 4 multiplied, number 4 twofold. So when you have enough stability in your life, you also have prosperity, and you have good things that you can manifest into your life, which is really amazing. Number 9 is completion and conclusion. So number 9 is when you've come to the end of a goal, you've gotten what you need, you've learned what you needed to learn. The outcome may have been good or it may have been bad, but it is the end and it's complete. And then you have number 10, which is the new beginning, or the cycle starting again, because 1 and 0 are the beginning of a story. It's like it's ended and now it's beginning again. So that is pretty darn cool. So we'll keep all these numbers in mind as we look at the suits and also the court cards. So let's look at the wands. So when you get a card with wands, the wand means the fire element. So this is very similar to the suit of clubs in a regular playing card deck. So the fire element represents the will inside of us, and also our creativity and ideas. So things that you're putting forth to make positive change through what you create or the ideas you have. Swords are like spades in a regular playing card deck, and they represent the air element, which is all about thoughts and thoughtful analysis of things. So swords could be a very intelligent type of card. It could be all about invention, thinking of new ideas, and all sorts of stuff like that. The cups are like the hearts in a regular playing card deck, and they represent the water element, which is all about our emotions and also love. And love doesn't necessarily mean just romantic love. It can also mean universal love and friendship love and all the different types of love that we have for people, and compassion too. Pentacles are like diamonds in a regular card deck, and they represent the earth element, or material goals and abundance. So pentacles often mean prosperity. They can sometimes mean riches, blessings, things like that. So when you put the minor arcana suits with numbers, you can get a very clear meaning through the card. So for example, a card that I really like is the 3 of Cups. So if we were to analyze this, if we got this card, you'll see a picture of what looks like 3 ladies toasting with 3 cups with each other. They look like they're having a great time, and they're being social, and they're kind of partying a little bit. So let's look at that, and we'll immediately be able to understand what this means by the number and the suit. So number 3 is, as we remember, representative of self-expression. So these ladies are obviously being self-expressive by being social with each other. And then cups mean emotions and love. So when you get the 3 of Cups, it's all about being able to express yourself in your emotions and or love that you have. So that is really an awesome thing to observe. Now, if we were to look at another card and apply this system to another card, it would be, for example, I just randomly drew the 5 of Wands. So with the 5 of Wands, you see these 5 guys kind of at conflict with one another, with these long staffs. Oftentimes in the tarot, the wands are also known as staffs or sticks or whatever you want to call it, but they're all at odds with each other, kind of fighting with these long sticks. So, as we remember, the number 5 is about change and challenges. And the wands are all about will and creativity and ideas. So, this card clearly could mean, if you drew it for yourself, your will and the things that you want to create may be challenged at the moment. This could be because of a change in your life, or it could be you want a change to happen from your will, but you feel in conflict either with people around you or something else that's in your way in your life. Really super interesting. Okay, so now we're going to look at this example with the court cards. So first we're going to go over what the court cards are all about. So they're made up of kings, queens, knights, and pages. And this is very similar to, as you know, regular playing cards, as the face cards in a regular card deck. So kings are a father figure, and they're considered masculine. And this is considered your personal authority. So when you draw a king card, it's talking about something that's an authority in your life. Queens are a mother figure, and they're feminine, and they are considered an influence in your life when you draw those. A knight card is considered, also known as a prince sometimes. A knight is representative of rushing, something rushing into your life or rushing through your life, because they're often depicted on a horse. So knights represent your movement towards something else. That's always what they represent. Movement towards something else. And pages, sometimes called princesses as well, represent errands, and they act as a messenger. So this represents your potential in life, something that you could achieve. So let's look at some examples of that. So I randomly drew from the deck the King of Cups, okay? So the king is, as we know, father figure, masculine, your authority. And if you pair that with cups, that is emotions and love. So this card has to do with making kindness and compassion your authority. So maybe if you drew this card, you'd be considering, well, maybe I could use some more love in my life, as in being kinder to others or something like that, instead of making your own ego the authority. So this is a really interesting card, and I really like this one actually. Another example would be the Queen of Swords. So here's just another random one. So the Queen is, as we know, the mother figure and feminine, and she is your influence. She represents influence. And swords represent thoughts and analysis. This card is all about letting your thoughts have influence on others. And this could mean in a positive way, or perhaps your thoughts and your analysis has been negative. Some people actually consider this a negative card, but it all depends on your personal situation that you're going through when you draw this. So it really is all about thinking about how you've been using your thoughts and how they've been influencing the world. Really cool. So now we get to move on to the major arcana, the really juicy stuff. So these are considered the face cards, the cards with a lot more symbolism and things like that, as far as a single thing that you're focusing on the card. And each card does have a number, and you can take that into account as well. But I'm going to go over the zodiac side of the major arcana and also the planet cards of the major arcana, because the cards in all of the major arcana are kind of split up into these two categories. In reality, every single card in the entire tarot deck could have a zodiac sign and a planet assigned to it. But these cards, actually, that I'm going to mention have specific meanings as far as the zodiac or of a certain planet. So I'm going to go over those now because they're really important to remember. So I'm going to go in as much in order of the cards as I can. The tarot cards actually all have an order, which you can look up. but they're going to be a little bit split up because I am doing cards I consider more zodiac cards first and cards that are more planet cards second. So they may be a little bit out of order, but just bear with me. So the first card I'm going to go over is the Emperor card, and this is represented by the sign Aries, which is all about power and structure. Then there is the Hierophant, which is Taurus, which is about security and tradition. There's the Lovers, which are represented by Gemini, which is the twins, and this is about connection and commitment. Then there's the Chariot, which is Cancer, which represents dreams and goals. Then Strength, which is Leo, confidence and resilience. Then the Hermit, which is Virgo, represented by adjustment and self-reflection. Justice, which is Libra, which is my sign, and that is balance and discernment. Death, which is represented by Scorpio, challenge and rebirth. Temperance, which is Sagittarius, steadiness and moderation. The Devil, Capricorn, which is indulgence and avarice. The Star, which is Aquarius, inspiration and opportunities. And finally, the Moon, which is Pisces, vulnerability and mystery. So now we're going to look at the other side of the major arcana, which are the planet cards. First, there is the Fool, which is represented by the planet Uranus, which is all about sudden change and evolving. Second is the Magician, Mercury, which represents wisdom. Then there's the High Priestess, which is represented by the Moon, and that's about intuition. Then there is the Empress, which is represented by Venus, and that's about love and family. Then there's the Wheel of Fortune, which is represented by Jupiter, and that's about prosperity and abundance. Then the Hanged Man, Neptune, which is new perspective and breaking illusion. Then the Tower, which is Mars, which is destruction and vigilance. The Sun, obviously, which is represented by the Sun, which is about joy and light. Then Judgment, which is Pluto, and that's about making change and harnessing power. And then finally the World, which is represented by Saturn, and that's about ambition and achievement. So knowing all of this, if I were to use the numbers on these cards along with the either zodiac meaning or planetary meaning, it could actually add a lot more to the card. So I drew a random card from the deck, which is the Justice card, which is actually my card as a Libra, which is really interesting. So Justice actually has an X and an I at the top, which means 11. And if you get a number like that that's double digits, you would actually go for the number 1, or you could go for the number 2. In numerology, you add the 2 digits of the numbers together. So that being said, since we're going with the number 2, we'll have to notice another symbol in this card, which is a sword. So as we remember, the sword represents thoughts and analysis. In this case, since we're dealing with justice, it would definitely have to do with analysis. And the number 2 has to do with duality and choices. So the Justice card indicates that a decision needs to be made. And the sword is to kind of cut through all the extra stuff to get to that decision, to eliminate all the other possibilities that don't work and go for the correct choice. And lastly, I will give an example of the Empress card, which has a 3 at the top. So in that case, that's just 1 digit. We can use the number 3 as it is. And since we know that the Empress is a very maternal type of card, it's Venus, love, and family types of things. The woman that's depicted in this card in the Rider-Waite deck is actually considered to be pregnant by a lot of people. She's very much a mother. She's sitting in a very fertile field of, I think it looks like wheat, and then there's a forest behind her, and she has the little Venus symbol next to her. So a lot of this is femininity and motherhood. And as we remember, the number 3 in numerology is all about self-expression. So since this is a very maternal card, the number 3 can mean self-expression in the way of creating a family. there's the obvious fact that when two people get together, they make a baby, which makes three people. So there's that symbolism of the number three. But there's also the idea that when you create a family and you have a maternal instinct, you are expressing yourself in that way, and that you are imparting your knowledge to that child. So that's a very, very interesting card, and I like that I pulled that one. So all in all, I think that you'll see when you put all these patterns together, you can really get a lot out of these cards. Every single number, every single symbol, and every piece of art on these cards means something very significant. And I think I'm going to go into this in future videos of how this applies to other different types of systems. So be sure and stay tuned for that. And that's it. That is the entire tarot deck. So now you know. And I am so excited I got to share this with you guys because I have been wanting to talk to someone about this for the longest time. I think this is so helpful in learning tarot, learning the symbolism, and there's actually a lot more that I do want to talk about in future videos because tarot actually fits in with Kabbalah and a bunch of other cool mystical things. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. So if you made it this far in the video, be sure to put the secret word of the day, which is Empress, because that's a great card. And be sure to also subscribe to this channel if you like this video and push like so I personally know that you liked it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!